Hello everyone, I am back with another quick film review for you, and today I'm going to be taking a look at Gladiator 2, directed by Ridley Scott, written by David Scarpa from a story he wrote with Peter Craig. The film stars Paul Mescal, Pedro Pascal, Joseph Quinn, Fred Heckinger, Leor Raz, Derek Jacobi, and Connie Nielsen, those two returning and reprising their roles from the first film, and of course, Denzel Washington in a delicious supporting role for him. This movie has a lot of impressive action sequences, good acting, but a very redundant story. So, no spoilers here, though I do mention what has been shown in all the trailers. So, if you're someone that wants to know zero, and I mean literally nothing, about the premise or anything, then you don't want to watch this. But otherwise, I promise there'll be no spoilers of any kind here in terms of the plot. Now, this sequel, it's almost a requel, quite frankly. It's almost a remake, it practically is a remake of the Oscar-winning 2000 film. It's just got a lot more gore and more antagonists, too. Some of the Colosseum scenes here, they really outdo the original, I must say. Even if one sequence defies some logic, there's a little bit of like, I don't know how they could have done that back then. But anyway, this film it borders on fantasy at times. I don't care about historical accuracy or any of that stuff, quite frankly, when it comes to, ancient Rome and gladiator battles and stuff. It's like, it doesn't matter. It's about finding the right actors and the right story. But yeah, in this case, it is kind of the same story. It's much the same as the original Crow film. It takes place 16 years after Marcus Aurelius's death, after avenging his family. And it involves this man named Hanno. This is an alias, and I won't say who he really is in case you don't know. It's kind of obvious. But anyway, he's played well by Paul Mescal, the movie's lead, filling in, stepping into Russell Crowe's, main protagonist part here. No pressure there. He just won an Oscar for it, but no pressure. So anyway, this character, much like Crowe's character, he loses everything, and he's enslaved, and he becomes a gladiator who fights more for revenge, I'd say, than his freedom. In Rome, there are now two emperor brothers. One is dumber than the other. Both are these young, spoiled, immature brats. They're kind of like the Beavis and Butthead of ancient Rome. And Pedro Pascal is everywhere these days, I know, but he plays a general with an agenda in the Roman Empire here. Pascal's good in the role, but the character is a lot more than he seems. Denzel Washington does deserve an award nomination of some kind here as Macrinus, who owns gladiators. He's the Lord of Gladiators, really. He owns the best ones, you could say. He's like the best wrestling manager kind of thing. He's like the Paul Heyman of gladiator owners. Anyway, he sees something in Hanno. Macrinus, he's very clever and ambitious. And Washington, man, he just plays him perfectly. Not too subtle, not too over the top, but just right. It's just perfect casting and an excellent performance. So, back to the story, which is very redundant, but the question is, is that such a bad thing? Is this not the story that fans of the first one would want? Is this not what they would want? Screenplay fans, if you're going for writing, you're going to be disappointed, but fans of the first film that really like that would want more of the same, just a little different and a lot more. They might be into it. They might love it, isn't this what you want? Are you not entertained? Anyway, I don't know. I think kind of trying to think of some examples here, like Evil Dead 2. That's not a bad film just because it was a remake, really, like a requel of the first one. It was a better film, but it wasn't really meant to be taken too seriously either. Maybe a better example would be something like Return of the Jedi. Is that no good? Because that was very unoriginal too. Is another Death Star, and look at Rise of Skywalker. Oh my God, the most unoriginal Star Wars movie. That one had its problems, but Return of the Jedi, I think, was good despite the unoriginality at times. It was still a good, fun movie, and that's what we got here. So, it's up to you. It depends on how critical you are, I'd say. Really. But it is a wonderful debate about film criticism, But yeah, if I'm a producer of Gladiator 2, I'm thinking film goers love the first one. Let's give them more of the same, And yeah, I mean, again, if you're there for the writing, if you're there for something new, you'll be disappointed. But if you love the first Gladiator film, I think you'll have a great time. As a film, just on its own, like if this was Gladiator 1, in some ways it could have been, it would be hailed a lot more, I think. It's a very solid action revenge tale, with naturally better effects and better cinematography than the Oscar-winning original. Washington, like I said, he steals every scene he's in, and several actors, though, including Paul Mescal, they do hang in there with him quite well. It's really nice to see Connie Nielsen and Derek Jacobi return for the sake of continuity as well. So, I mean, it's really just the unoriginal plot. This is my main criticism here. It may just be a copy of the first film, and I recognize that this could have had a lot more originality, but this sequel mostly works. It looks great, it's well directed, some great choices here from Scott, some jaw-dropping arena battles, some crazy fights with certain animals, of course. They really up that. Great performances. Mescal is good in the lead, and of course Denzel steals the show. But I think, yeah, depending on box office, there could very well be a Gladiator 3 in the future. So yeah, I mean, in the end, Gladiator 2, well, it may have really just been made solely because Ridley wanted to do it bigger and more entertaining this time, and in that respect, I think he succeeded. So I liked the film, didn't love it, but I liked it, and I'm going to give Gladiator 2 a solid 7.5 out of 10. It will entertain you, even if it's not the greatest story of all time. Okay, that's all from you guys. Thank you so much for checking out this review of Gladiator 2. And I think I'm going to see Wicked next, so stay tuned for that. And until next time, peace.